And India's policy of zero tolerance when it comes to terrorism has been evident and unbiased, no matter the cost. Be it on its own turf or on international platforms, New Delhi has never backed down from condemning any forms of terrorism and violence. India's resilient efforts on counter-terrorism were demonstrated recently by Ruchira Kamboj, the permanent representative of India to the United Nations, when she was representing India's take on the Israel-Hamas conflict. To delve in the matter further, let's take a look at this report.
India is a country that has suffered because of terrorism and violence on various fronts. However, even in the worst of circumstances, New Delhi has never refrained from taking all the necessary steps to counter terrorism at all cost and on all platforms. Be it the cross-border terrorism or violence instigated by its geographical neighbor Pakistan, which has been proven again and again to be sponsor, harbor and protect terrorism, which are the key bearers of violence around the world. Or be it the use of extremely violent and inhuman measures used on both sides of the ongoing Israel-Palestine. India, being a victim of terrorism and violence, has always understood that the ultimate sufferer in all of these incidents is the general public, which always has to pay the ultimate cost every time. Indian diplomats once again presented its firm stance against violence and terrorism on an international platform when Ruchira Kamboj, the permanent representative of India to the United Nations, represented India's take on the occasions of the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people.
We are gathered today, Mr. President, at a time when the security situation in the Middle East is deteriorating due to the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict, with a large-scale loss of civilian lives, especially women and children, and an alarming humanitarian crisis. This is clearly unacceptable, and we have indeed strongly condemned the death of civilians. We are aware, Mr. President, that the immediate trigger were the terror attacks in Israel on 7 October, which were shocking and deserve our unequivocal condemnation. There can be no justification for terrorism and hostage-taking. Our thoughts are with those who have been taken as hostages. While we welcome the news of the release of the hostages, we also call for the immediate and unconditional release of the remaining hostages. India has a zero-tolerance approach to terrorism. We also believe that there is a universal obligation to observe international humanitarian law.
India, in the ongoing Israel-Palestine conflict, has always refrained from picking favorites and instead has always voted for a two-state solution for the matter so that no one in this conflict has an objection over the ultimate result. Furthermore, New Delhi has always made sure to support the resolution of this conflict only through dialogue and diplomacy, ensuring that it does not justify or support the use of violence in any way.
Along with restraint, they have also emphasized a peaceful resolution of the conflict through dialogue and diplomacy. India also urges the parties to work toward creating conditions necessary for peace and the restarting of direct negotiations between the parties, including through an eschewing of violence and de-escalation. India has always supported a negotiated two-state solution to the Israel-Palestine issue, leading to the establishment of a sovereign, independent and viable state of Palestine, living within secure and recognized borders, side by side in peace with Israel.
Even in the past, Indian diplomats have always supported a two-state solution in the matter of Israel and Palestine. Another Indian diplomat, Yojana Patel, who represented India previously in the United Nations, had presented India's similar views on the matter. Yet again, India's justification over the two-state solution for the Israel-Palestine conflict. Meanwhile, India has also demonstrated a strong opposition on the matters of the Khalistan propaganda, even when it is being protected and supported by many countries like the United Kingdom, the United States and Canada. Previously, the Prime Minister of Canada had blamed India for the death of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar living in Canada. Since then, India has been regularly warning these democracies to not let the Khalistani propaganda and terrorism spread their roots in their countries. India has been employing a rather different approach to stop on-ground terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistan has repeatedly tried to disrupt the peace and stability of the Union territory. Moreover, it is because of India's such resilient and consistent efforts that its opinion in the matters of international peace has gained significant importance. Meanwhile, its strong and intricately designed system of counter-terrorism on the border has finally gotten India the peace that it had longed for.